Hello, and welcome to the channel. This video is vastly different from my usual ones, and that's because we will be covering a serious topic. We will go over topics of bullying and harassment of a YouTuber, but also the power in which YouTubers have to their audience. I've never made a video like this before and was a bit hesitant, so I held off for a few days till I finally came to the decision to go through with it. I want to say not to spread any hate or hunt down any parties involved. That is not condoned. This video is to spread awareness and have a clear conversation. Nothing more. Let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, Scoobytopia is a small channel of 18,000 subs who was recently run off of YouTube by crazed fans. I was going back and forth on making this video, but as a fellow small creator who also does reviews on shows, I wanted to give my opinion and thoughts on the situation. There's going to be two parts to this video. The first part covers Scoobytopia's goodbye video.
Hi, I am Nate, not Scoobytopia, but of Scoobytopia, so I also am. You might have noticed the channel has been absent of content, or maybe not, because it's frequently absent of content these days. There seems to be a lot of speculation, gossip, and misinformation, so I thought I should have a little sit down, a little kiki with the girls for Pride Month, and let's talk about it. I saw the Reddit post, I read the comments, all the posts, people kept me in the know after I left. So what happened? Long story short, I watched season 2 of the cartoon Velma. I didn't hate it to the point of convulsing like everyone else. I didn't even like it, I just didn't hate it. I said it's well animated and improved from the first season, and this basically ended my channel and career on YouTube.
First, I want to say it's okay to have a difference of opinion, but cards on the table, I searched the internet far and wide watching nothing but hate videos for the Velma show because I didn't like most of it. Keyword, most. Even in a terrible project, there are bound to be some things in it you might like. For terrible movies, it might be music. For terrible shows, it might be a specific character. And for terrible cartoons, it might be the animation. Animation was one thing I liked about Velma. Also Gigi. For an original character, I think she might have been the best written. Probably because she's original and not shitting on previously established characters. It's things like this that make me believe Velma was a different show, but the execs made them use Scooby-Doo characters for brand recognition to bring in viewers. I also want to say the Velma video didn't ruin his career. I seen the original because again I was consuming all the Velma videos I could to see others' opinions. I did the same for She-Hulk. And since the video, he's posted 2 more after, not counting this one, that brought in over 9,000 and 12,000 views in 2 weeks. The channel is definitely thriving for 18k subs, but we will get into the real reason a bit later.
Ask Reddit, and 1 or 2 people just said something kinda mean, and I couldn't take it because I'm too fragile to be on YouTube. So I'm better off gone anyway, and that's all that happened. A lot of people saying it's rare to find anything fully hateful in my comments, including that video. Some people just aren't capable of handling negative feedback. That's what they keep saying. Just take the criticism and feedback. But I wasn't getting negative feedback or criticism is the thing. You don't see anything fully hateful in the comments of my videos normally because I keep them clean so other people can have a safe space to enjoy talking about Scooby-Doo as a community, and not just people calling me fat or woke every 5 seconds. And I find it hard to believe anyone actually went through the comments of that video in particular and didn't see anything as some claim, because I wasn't even actively cleaning that video. I was too busy being harassed, so I know some of them are still there unless the person behind them deleted them. Not to mention, I was posting about this as it was first happening to me the entire time on Twitter and Tumblr, albeit the funnier ones here and there, because for the first few hours, you can take being told horrible things every 5 seconds. I get hate comments every day. That's been the usual for years since I started the channel, and I'm used to it. I called Daphne's cousin in Loch Ness a lesbian, and some homophobic guy asked if I was assuming her sexuality or making a failed joke. That joke is hilarious. I'm not sorry. Much as Reddit says I'm too bothered and fragile toward them,
I don't know if he's aware, but you can ban certain words and phrases from being posted automatically in the YouTube settings, and I'm pretty sure you can also hold certain comments up for review before it's officially posted. I personally don't know what those comments said because I wasn't reading them, and even if I was, the Velma video was 2 months ago and I consumed too many, I wouldn't even remember. I usually have videos playing in the background while I'm working or gaming. However, scrolling through the comments and search for negative ones to try and keep a clean community sounds taxing. The backlash could seem bigger than what it was because of that. I think South Park did an episode like this.
It's a pretty brutal job sifting through all that darkness.
So it's understandable if you got tired and wanted to take a break or leave. If you ever do decide to come back, I would suggest making use of those features for your mental state. Also, if we're being constructive here, I don't get how that comment equates to homophobia. But moving on.
When in reality, 99.9% of them I laugh at and delete, or even leave up and make a funny reply to, especially these days. It started out even laughable here, like saying some person I've never heard of isn't racist, when I didn't infer anything about anyone, and after making up whatever is going on in his head tries to say he was totally for sure interested. But I lied by saying something I did not say because I have never heard of that person, so gosh darn it, that's messed up and I lost him. That was funny, because what does any of that mean? It took me forever to even parse. Or then you've got starting strong by calling me buddy. You know it's good when they start with that. And saying I'm deluding myself into believing something bad is good because I'm a horrible person. Somehow, over a cartoon. I can't even begin to wonder what that means or what goes on in the mind of someone like that, which is still what makes it pretty funny. A lot of people started to just become disrespectful, insisting I was being positive, which I wasn't even really being all that positive, for the sake of being different and special and quirky and contrarian, that I was lying for views and should be an honest neutral instead of faking my opinion. As if I ever have once faked how I feel about anything on this channel, even when I know it won't be a popular opinion. As if I wanted to be bullied into crying and enjoy that. But then it kept going.
Can't comment on the first thing because you didn't provide the clip of what the person was referring to. So there's two options for Yellow Flash. The character Reverse Flash or the YouTuber Yellow Flash 2. Clearly we're talking about the YouTuber who made Velma videos himself, 39 videos to be exact. And there have been discussions on whether or not he's a racist. So not saying you did, but not saying you didn't either, because you took the videos down and did not provide proof, context, or clarification, and laughed it off as a joke. The second one was a weird take, so no comment either. We will come back to the third one, or lack thereof, because that's the ultimate catalyst of how I made this video.
That video was littered with things worse than anything I've ever been told about myself. Going beyond directly calling me a bad person, which happened about like every 5 seconds, and specifically going into detail on why I am and why I should have my channel reported and deleted, etc. Every minute, every day, someone new started telling me I shouldn't be alive, or that I'm somehow racist against white people for my video on the show, or some other reason that they've decided I'm the target over. So much that it even left just that video. Not only was it on other videos, but people hated me so much that a month later, I've had to delete most of my community posts and turn off comments on the one left because they started attacking me there as well. The same people following to every new one I made. The most recent post I made days ago was littered with attacks on myself from these people still until I cleaned it up again because they want me gone. It didn't just quiet down and get better after a week or two of maybe a couple of people giving me negative feedback. So as the person that has to clean up my constant hate comments already the last few years to make a safe community, and as someone that's been posting about some of the severe harassment I've been getting in posts on social media when it's happening, talking about it over a month as it never stopped, it's also strange to see people try to gaslight me and say they never see hate comments, even the ones that are still very much up, so it must not have happened. I must just not be able to take the heat. I'm too fragile to be on YouTube and can't take people being constructive, which I'm sure the same people will say of this very video and use it as proof.
I already went over my thoughts on this earlier, but two things. If they comment on every one of your videos and community posts, that means they're subscribed to your channel just to keep hating on you for an opinion. So again, a break or leaving YouTube is very much warranted if that's what you felt like you needed. But I do think you let them win and then use YouTube's creator settings to their full advantage. If you have any friends that you trust with your channel, there's even YouTube moderator settings where you can add them in to help you delete negative comments. I think the main problem is you were doing this alone and did let it get to your head a bit. Second thing, I don't know why people will want to get that heated over an opinion. Okay, let's test this out. Guys, I have a confession to make. I enjoyed episode 4 of She-Hulk. Come at me, we don't delete comments in these parts, partly because I don't get any. But in all seriousness, those people are the losers in this situation, dedicating so much time to that. You had 18,000 subs. If you were partnered with YouTube, then they were providing you money, my guy.
But nobody was there when I was being told the most horrific, terrible things about myself over a cartoon, trying to be strong while getting a new comment like that every time I refreshed, until I broke down in front of my best friend and he had to comfort me while I couldn't stop crying once I started. Eventually I became too terrified to even check my comments some days because I had no idea what horrible atrocity was going to be there, and it always was.
A lot of this is just reiteration of what we already heard. But W friend, we all need a friend like that in our lives.
I know what people have said to me every single day the last month. I know what I've been going through for a month over some stupid cartoon I don't even like. And that's the other thing. It's kind of weird for defenses toward me to be like, I don't agree with his opinion, but as if I care about the show. I don't care about Velma, much as I don't hate to watch it. My opinion is just that I don't hate it or throw fits on the internet about it and thought it improved in the second season. People keep acting like or talking as if I love that show and I'm a huge fan of it when I just don't care about it and wasn't caused some kind of cartoonish pain to sit through it. Everything nice toward me now has to start with, I don't agree that he likes the show, but when I really just don't. I like the animation being high quality. I like positive aspects that do exist despite people fighting to say the contrary, but I don't have some kind of deep love or obsession with it. And of course, even defenses toward me are met with the usual, he deserves it if he feels that way because I don't like this show.
I mean, if you don't like that people have to walk on eggshells around you, this video isn't doing you any favors. And it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Constantly searching for and reading negative comments for hours can take a toll on you mentally. How many critique comments have you deleted that you personally thought was hate because of all the hate you were actually reading? Even in this video, I'm trying not to come across as mean as possible just in case, which is why it's taking long to come out. Not trying to turn an informative video into a this YouTuber made a hate video on a creator who quit situation. I'm remaining objective, but that also means some things towards your actions will also have to be said as well, especially in the second half of the video. I dread the most.
Unforgivable. No offense, but half the people saying that probably don't even watch or know as much about Scooby-Doo as me. The people harassing me in hatred of Velma probably haven't given a shit about Scooby-Doo in years, if maybe even ever. And I don't like saying that because I am by no means special. I am extremely not. I am just some person that watches too much of that franchise. But that's the energy they give. And since I have to spell it out, obviously that is aimed at the people harassing me, not the average people who dislike that show and are normal about it, or my viewers, obviously. There was plenty of that lost in between.
You're damn right. I'm an average Scooby-Doo watcher, and I always thought they only made a movie every few years. I decided to look it up, and they made a movie almost every single year. The franchise will never die. Everyone's going crazy over Velma last year, but did anyone watch Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2 that came out in 2023? Scooby-Doo Meets Courage from 2021? Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts from 2019? Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost from 2018? Scooby-Doo and Batman from 2018, Shaggy Showdown from 2017. The list goes on. Not really making a point here, but if I did start watching Scooby-Doo and making videos on them, there's never any possibilities from movies to shows, but I tend to like the franchise more when ghosts are real.
Anyway, the bad side of the fandom hitting me was only a matter of time, as over the last year or two I've heard a decent amount of some sides of it already. I alluded to it somewhat in my Ghost Hollywood video. The Scooby fandom, at least on Twitter and YouTube, has some pretty severe cliques and hierarchy going on. I've seen people getting doxxed or harassed or framed for things by the higher-ups of the fandom in all kinds of ways, be it on Twitter or YouTube or Reddit. One disappointing moment was seeing a Scooby-Doo podcast host I like and have enjoyed the work of participating in the harassment in a power trip, maybe out of jealousy toward the person, in a moment of total disillusionment for me. And those are the popular people everyone knows and follows that are supposed to set an example, but are showing we should be fighting instead of being a community, many of which also regularly rage bait Velma towards Scooby fans just to get them riled up, like there's nothing better to do.
Doxing is a horrible thing, a general statement, but apparently it needs to be said because some people aren't getting the memo. Also, never look up to anyone. At the end of the day, a person is a person, and as people, we have flaws. I like creators, not gonna feel sad when they mess up because anyone has the capability to. I don't think I ever had a YouTube hero.
One even stole one of my old video thumbnails for a post at one point without crediting me. So basically, I really shouldn't be surprised that the fandom has a dark side. But after a full month of being exposed to why I supposedly shouldn't be allowed to live, or as some call it, constructive criticism and negative feedback, I just really don't enjoy or want to talk about Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo was my happy place in all the dark things going on in my life. Even when things have been more difficult in the last year, I pushed through and still made some videos I think came out pretty great, despite being in mental anguish the entire time making them, because I had nothing else to center myself around.
An opinion is an opinion. Never tell someone to do any self-deletions just because they don't align. You never know someone's mental state and if they actually will, and I really think the internet has taken away most people's empathy. It's so easy to say things when you're not looking directly into someone's face. Fun story, I've been told to self-delete in the TikTok comment section before, over a difference in opinion.
But right now, after being treated like this every day, and I mean every day for a month, YouTube and Scooby-Doo are not happy places for me anymore when combined. I made the most recent Headless Horseman video before the Velma video. I just hadn't finished editing it yet and paused it to talk about Velma really quick first. I wanted to put more time into the Horseman video because I was excited about it, but then the harassment got so severe in one day that I had to force myself to not sleep that night and finish editing that video so I could get it up as damage control the next day. And to do so, I had to cut something like 12 minutes of the video that had already been recorded. Probably really more because there were additional things I wanted to film and talk about, all of which had to just be lost so I could release it early. And that broke my heart a little also, while already just at the starting stage of harassment that would begin. That would have been one of my favorite videos about one of my favorite subjects, and I had to sacrifice and lose it in an already difficult moment. I had another video that was almost done being written and took a lot of time and effort to coordinate and research. I had at least 4 or 5 other videos ready to start writing and working on that I was really excited about. Several I know people had really been asking for. I don't know if those will ever be seen or finished right now. For the time being, I probably won't be touching any of them or the channel. I don't really want anything to do with Scooby-Doo right now as someone who is surrounded by Scooby every day I wake up, given how my home has been covered. So maybe I will be back with a new video someday. Maybe the channel will just disappear and be forgotten eventually by everyone. I just know I don't want to be here getting told the latest update of why I'm horrible and don't deserve to live every day. Because I didn't like either, but didn't hate a stupid cartoon. You try reading comments on a Reddit post about you justifying your harassment, or denying it even happened after living it while nobody seems to notice or be there for you. Anyway, this isn't a woe is me pity party. I don't want attention. That is the last thing I want right now. I just want to disappear, so let's not make it a thing. I just needed to clear all the air one single time outside of a comment section. Let you hear my voice say what actually happened and clear up any misconceptions there seem to be plenty of. Also, no, I won't be doing anything else regardless of if it's a hiatus or permanent. This channel was the extent of anything you would ever see or hear of me by design. Old videos will also stay up. It got genuinely so bad I almost took the entire channel down at one point, but I won't take it away from people who care about it. I think that's enough yapping, so I'll leave you to it. I'll see you in past videos in Scoobytopia. Goodbye.
And so comes the end of an era. As I said, this video will have 2 parts to it. The first part was commentary on his video. This part is commentary on his comments. So, you remember the little part right there?
A lot of people started to just become disrespectful, insisting I was being positive, which I wasn't even really being all that positive, for the sake of being different and special and quirky and contrarian, that I was lying for views and should be an honest neutral instead of faking my opinion. As if I ever have once faked how I feel about anything on this channel, even when I know it won't be a popular opinion. As if I wanted to be bullied into crying and enjoy that.
Well, there was a post on Reddit, and I caught a few glimpses of this before things went south, and this was the catalyst for the video, a comment that took down the channel. Now, while he said it was multiple people that made him officially quit, it was only after this person came that he made his announcement and used it as an example. The main example. The Reddit post shows 3 screenshots. Hold on. In light of recent information, I made an additional discovery. Had to make some revisions to my script to add this in. Actually, my script was airtight. This just provided additional context. I was looking through YouTube to see if anyone else covered the topic, and they did. A channel called the Rowdy Retro Reviewer Show that made 2 videos on Scoobytopia discussing the backlash over the dreaded Velma show. Scoobytopia actually left a comment talking about random on the video. Let's take a quick look.
Thank you. The 2 most recent videos were made away from YouTube and released much earlier in June as TikTok exclusives, where the reaction to the situation had been the opposite and was still welcoming enough to at least make them there. I thought with them already being complete, there wouldn't be harm in putting them out here too later now that things had gone quiet, just to test the waters while improving my relationship with the franchise away from here. The first day, it was positive. But then attention on the channel again just reawakened everything that happened before, and it started again. Last night was the final sign to make it official more publicly when someone who was rude to me when this all started and said I was being dishonest about my opinions started harassing me again, angry for being called out and misrepresented while being represented accurately. As being rude, if they were still obsessed enough to show up here, sorry about that, I wouldn't put it past them. They spent legitimately over 8 hours obsessively harassing me nonstop until 6 in the morning, calling my situation a manipulative sob story, and mockingly celebrating that I was run off of YouTube for someone trying to represent themselves as not rude, dismissing any attempts at conversation. It was a bit of a failure. I don't wish that upon you. I don't plan on coming back at this point. I was already in the middle of a crisis offline in the exact minute that had started last night. There's too much happening in my life to have to turn around every day and deal with that again on top of it. A cycle forever.
I want to quickly add this in, because this is our frame of reference for how Scoobytopia viewed the conflict, and I'm very glad I stumbled across this. Without it in my script, people could very easily say things are one-sided. Well, now we can move forward with information straight from the source, especially since we can't count on him to reply if we reached out for more information on his side. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
YouTuber redacts comment from video. Funny story, I made a comment a while ago. A YouTuber took it the wrong way, put me in a video of him talking about haters, and then got into an argument on his next video. When I explained on his video, he cut me out of context. I didn't even make that comment for him. I made it for me so people can know what I said and not just the very end. Now I'm taken off. Haters are one thing, but him lumping in my constructive criticism in his video and calling it hate when I didn't personally attack him, other than disagreeing with an opinion about a show, was a, quote, dishonest attack on my character. And that led to a lengthy argument. Is it normal for review channels to get their feelings hurt if you don't agree on everything, especially on a show like Velma? Extra context. I didn't even want him to remove it. I wanted him to acknowledge he cut me out of context. He started the actual argument that happened going forward. Update, he actually quit and deleted everything. He made a community post with a screenshot of my comment that literally explains I was cut out of context with a copy and paste of my full comment from the other video. Thousands of subscribers down the drain over, starting with me because of Velma. I can't stress that enough. Literally said I don't think he was truly neutral on his review. None of that was my intention. But I also think he wouldn't survive much longer if he kept growing.
Within the screenshots, you can see in that portion of the video, Scoobytopia went on to clip out his comment. Well, what exactly did the comment say? Well, as told, I was able to catch a few glimpses and screenshots because Scoobytopia went on to pin the very comment this guy made.
Just seeing this, don't claim I'm a hater and only show the end of my comment without full context of what I said. 253. If anyone is curious, here's a copy and paste, and even if you find it in the original video, his only reason for disagreeing with my comment is because of the end, which shows he never bothered to actually read it. Not to mention, he's only now saying he dislikes the series. The entire ending of his video was him saying nothing but praise and how much he liked the season, which is why I said it felt more like an opposition than a neutral take. Because he said nothing about what he disliked. But I guess this is me hating on his eyes. Here it is. Gotta disagree with you on most things. I feel like you give this show too much credit/leeway simply because it's a Scooby-Doo project. The mysteries are not interesting for one simple fact. There is no mystery. Remember what Velma said in season 1? This is her origin story on how she started Mystery Inc. Yet the only people who even does any real investigation are everyone but Velma. Fred even started his own mystery company in season 1. And outside of that, the answers just reveal themselves to the characters. Velma looks at the design of her glasses after years and just knows it's Fred's family who is behind the hypnosis. Velma doesn't get killed by a killer and just knows it's the stepmom. There wasn't any actual build-up to who it was, and the stepmom was pretty insignificant until it was brought up. Okay, hold on. Let's take a quick moment for me to interject mid-script. I've also seen Scoobytopia's Velma video and distinctly remember him saying the stepmom being the killer made sense. Just wanted to bring that up because this seems to be one of those things Random disagrees with. Back to the script. Velma's whole thing this season is that she's convinced it's Fred's mom again and doesn't look for the real killer and spends a lot of episodes doing unrelated things. The only time she actually investigates is when Norville's grandma sent her out to do it and not of her own accord. This is the problem with self-inserts. No matter what, Velma will get the glory but doesn't actually put in work, while ironically, it's Fred who has the most character development and growth, yet he is the punching bag for being white. This show is probably the worst Scooby-Doo property. Yes, over 50 years, there are bound to be flops here and there. However, there's a difference between trying something new and not being good and doing something new where the main thing you do is shit on fans, talk bad about the originals, and pretend you're better based on nothing but ego all while the writing is bad. Don't even get me started on the writing because when you listen to enough dialogue, you realize every character is basically the same person who repeats the same joke over and over, talk about the current situation, then immediately follow with a reference in a different tone. They're just one cutaway from being Family Guy. The only good things I can say is the animation, style, and hallucinations are good. And they toned down Velma's character this time around, but that's where it ends. Trying to be neutral is fine, but be an honest neutral cause. This seems more like an opposition than an actual neutral stance. Literally nowhere in it did I insinuate he was a bad person. 100% constructive criticism and disagreement on some of his takes.
And again, I'm glad I came across that comment because this puts a whole new perspective on Random's comment. This is the harassment Scoobytopia wrote about. Now, I was able to watch a bit of his original Velma video before he took it down, as I was going to cover both, and he was being positive in his video. Yet, in this video, he claimed he wasn't. There will be a lot of discrepancies between what happened and what he said happened. And fortunately, for better or worse, this commenter did bring it up later because the YouTuber started an argument with them. All this comment really did was show the YouTuber cut off the end of their full comment from the last video when used as an example in this one. Again, being objective, there's nothing wrong with that. For example, that's like if someone clipped a YouTube video of mine out of context and put it in their video, which by the way has happened before. Now, I know you're all wondering, well, how exactly did he start the argument? Here's what happened next.
You didn't say that part, but hundreds of others did, or telling me to take my own life every few minutes of every day for over a month. Over some cartoon. That's not going to be accepted. It's not right. Take yourself out to the trash. I've already quit the channel like you wanted. Even after trying to come back and see if it was the same, just to be harassed again and told the same about how horrible of a person I am, even this week, it's over.
Now, before we go on to further replies, I want to say that I'm positive no further interaction would have happened if you simply said, you didn't say that part, but hundreds of others did. I'll pin your comments so people can actually see the full context and know that I fully acknowledge that. But no, you go on to say, take yourself out to the trash. I've already quit the channel like you wanted. Is this you trying to have a conversation like you claimed, or telling others the version of the story you want them to hear? They didn't harass you or say you should leave. You put them in your video and then said this rude comment to them first. then got upset when they took what you said exactly how it was said. Let's see what happened next.
Stop saying your sob story as if I'm one of those people. It's pathetic, and on the worse end, it's manipulation to gauge a reaction out of people who scroll through comments to come to your defense and shut up any criticism. This is the exact reason why I bothered to repost my comment from your last video, since you clipped it out of context and continue to once again only respond to the end and not the comment as a whole. So, are you going to be real for once and address what my comment actually says? Or continue to play victim on anyone who shares a negative opinion on the show and act like it's directed at you personally? Scoobytopia goes on to say, I don't care about being defended, even as far as defense, which I never asked for. If anything, it's gotten worse. Your comment is still there for everyone to see, just like it always was for anyone who wanted context. I don't need to address your comment. I don't care about that show. Don't care about anything. I already quit the channel. The bad guy has left. It's over. I don't know you. I'm never making another video. None of this matters. Random then claps back with, if you don't care about my comment, you wouldn't have put it in the video. If you don't care about being defended, then explain why you have a pattern of hearting people who defends you in other comments, not even bad-mouthing you. If you don't like the show, then what about my comment do you not agree with on the show? Since in the other video you said yourself you don't agree. If you don't like the show, why didn't you say you don't like it in the first video? Why did you instead say, the season was a very easy watch that I enjoyed? I had a good time, I laughed, I smiled, I tweeted. Yet in this video, you say over and over you dislike the show. You replied to my comment just to do the same thing you did last time. Because, if you actually addressed what I said, you would backtrack on your comments from the last video. But you don't. So if you're not going to address my comment, how about deleting your replies to me if you're not trying to call people in to defend you for whoever sees it? Because all you want to do is talk about haters instead of my actual comment. Again, manipulation. I made this comment to clear up what I said since you labeled me as a hater, yet here you are on your victim train to make sure my comment can't be. But also claim you don't have to address what I said. And I bet, like everything else, you will only read the end and go, but haters. Scoobytopia replies with, I don't even remember which comment was yours. I do not care. I'm not having this conversation every single day for the rest of my life. I already left. It's over. Random replies, then you shouldn't have replied. This is what I'm talking about. You're not even reading. You replied with your sob story like you always do, then want to say, it's over, I'm done. Then you shouldn't have replied. I didn't make this comment for you. I made it to clarify my comment you cut out of context. If you're not going to be mature, then delete your replies. Simple as that. If you're going to talk, then talk about what I said, not how you feel. For the love of God. Read.
Cards on the table. While still being objective, nobody is right. Now, to be clear, the commenter, other people coming to this, so we're just going to call them random, had a right to clear up the comment that was cut, while Scoobytopia is well within his rights to express his frustration and what he's been going through. But there's a time and a place, and this was not the time nor that place. You're a YouTuber who made a video and used this comment as an example. For the other comments you showed, you gave specific commentary towards them, but you claimed this comment you were talking in general. In your comment on Triple R's video, just to shorten it for time, you claimed to try and have a conversation, but you actually didn't. You said you wanted to try to leave it at that, then went on to claim they harassed you. Got to be honest and say you were the one who dismissed having a conversation. You are literally screenshotted specifically saying, I'm not having this conversation, when random tried to talk to you after you replied to them. And let's not forget your first ever reply that says, I already quit the channel like you wanted. That's not a conversation starter, nor is it anything even related to what random said. No matter how you try to spin it, this entire situation started after you put this comment that was not rude to you in the video, and then went on to make them look like a bad person right off the bat. They said they didn't make the comment for you and simply made it because all you did was chop it down and said,
A lot of people started to just become disrespectful, insisting I was being positive, which I wasn't even really being all that positive, for the sake of being different and special and quirky and contrarian, that I was lying for views and should be an honest neutral instead of faking my opinion.
So, while it's a bit of an apathetic reply you got back calling your comment a sob story, Random is still 50% right in saying your reply will give people the wrong impression and only make them come to defend you when they are only trying to give context, especially when you show a full comment of the others and Random was then proven right.
I didn't even viciously cut it out of context. Whatever comment it was to villainize you, except you did. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I used multiple as an example of many things beyond you that occurred. If you don't want me replying, equally don't comment on my channel. You mean like you equally didn't put them in your video? Oh, wait. Anyways, this is not a show I hate, but it's not a show I care about. My friends really enjoyed this second season, and I enjoyed the discussion. So I wanted to continue talking about it. I did not ask to be harassed and told to die every day after. I don't care if the sob story is what happened to me and that it doesn't please you. No, it's the lack of a conversation that doesn't please them, the conversation you claimed they dismissed. It continues to say, you don't have to write multiple novels about how angry you are about the situation. I'm already never talking about Scooby-Doo again. You already won the situation. Thriller says, stopping is an option. You could just click off the comments and video. Zachman says, if anyone is acting like a 5-year-old, it's been you this whole time. And Scoobytopia says, sad little baby. A person named Punce, whose name I'm not finishing, says, please expeditiously touch grass. It's literally not that freaking serious, keeping it as PG as possible. Your good name has not been tarnished. It's not worth going at it like this.
But wait, what was that one thing you said in your video?
One disappointing moment was seeing a Scooby-Doo podcast host I like and have enjoyed the work of participating in the harassment in a power trip, maybe out of jealousy toward the person, in a moment of total disillusionment for me. And those are the popular people everyone knows and follows that are supposed to set an example, but are showing we should be fighting instead of being a community.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You say things like, oh, well, just like you don't want me to reply, you could not have commented, not recognizing the person only commented because you put their comment in your video to begin with. To do that and not expect a follow-up after is kind of arrogant. You say in your video, people with followings should lead by example, while not correcting the fans of yours who dogpiled on someone who once again was clearing up what they said. And you not only created the space for them to do so, but as I showed, you joined in on it yourself.
Those are the popular people everyone knows and follows that are supposed to set an example, but are showing we should be fighting instead of being a community.
And that is also why I decided to go through with the video, because while what happened to you is sad, us creators need to hold each other responsible if the fans aren't going to do so. You say it wasn't vicious, but deliberately use phrases such as, you already won the situation, and you don't have to write multiple novels about how angry you are about the situation. Even in your first reply, use the words, I've already quit the channel, like you wanted. While you pulled this person into the situation whose comment was 99% specifically talking about Velma and the show, not you. As a creator, you should recognize the power you hold over your comments. And as for the people who joined in, you didn't correct any of it and ignored them. But if you were the one on the receiving end, it would have been a problem for you. You were not harassed in this situation. They were. The same way you went off to continue bad faith talking about them in other comment sections in other videos, and as well as your community posts and Twitter/X. And during this interaction, you showed your true colors towards the commenter with these 2 replies you gave.
Scooby says this, obviously, I wouldn't say I shouldn't have cut out part of the message. I should have. That was part of the point of showing the comments and talk about my feelings of what happened. Thought that was pretty clear. So Random says, and obviously I have a right to say what I mean without you instantly running to talk about haters directly under my comment. And now here we are because of your personal actions. You want sympathy, then see your own faults instead of acting like you're always right. And that stuff happens out of of nowhere. Scoobytopia says, I doubt I want sympathy from you. You seem like the most unsympathetic person on earth. I don't even have haters. Scoobytopia continues, obviously I did intentionally cut context. The point was not you. Nobody knows who you are or cares. And clearly because you didn't even hear about this by admission, just as nobody cares who I am at the end of the day. The point was a reference of the types of comments progressing from point A to Z. If you used your brain, that would be slightly obvious. What is there to be misrepresented? Even when you don't even have a username anyone can find you under. Who are we misinterpreting? Random comment, bunch of numbers, very passive aggressive. It doesn't matter how many people know or if this person is easily findable. It matters to not be wanting to be misrepresented in the first place. He goes on to say, I pinned your comment for you so that you can have all the air you want. Do some self-reflection next time. Maybe you'll find why your comment was relevant as a reference to begin with in this situation, since you seem confused about that. Thinking you can't possibly have been wrong seems to be one of your main issues.
You say it wasn't done viciously, but also did that intentionally without thinking of the implications. And then on your last community post, you go on to once again add this specific person, making it pretty clear you view random as one of the reasons. And again, your Twitter and other YouTube comment section.
Scoobytopia posted random saying, you can say that all you want, I'm not the one running away. You got chased off the app. Funny thing is, you couldn't put this energy to other people, and yet you did it with someone who wasn't trying. Really an accomplishment on my end.
Is this the mocking comment you're referring to? Well, yes, it's mocking. Don't be a hypocrite, because again, you participated. And as for obsession, you posted about this person in multiple areas, but then go on to say if they respond, you wouldn't put it past them because they're obsessed. Clearly shows you have a pattern of holding yourself to a different standard.
Scoobytopia said, I quit the channel. I tried to come back peacefully and it didn't work. It all started again, so I left for good. What else could anyone possibly want? I'm already struggling in my personal life. I don't need people writing novels about their problems with me over a stupid cartoon I don't even care about for the rest of my life. There is nothing more to discuss the evil villain that I am already left. The good guys won. I don't need to continue being beaten. I didn't want to make another post. I want this to be over. I don't do drama. But if I have to make one last statement, so be it. I can't keep cleaning up the terrible things people say to me every day forever like this. You mean like how your first ever reply to random says, take yourself to the trash when they didn't even say anything terrible to or about you? Anyways, I didn't want to go the first time. I didn't feel like I was done. I had so many things I wanted to talk about. Somewhere I still do. But I feel the finality this time. I had a couple of little swan songs, gave it one last go. That's enough.
Random even goes on to call you out on this thought process you had in your last comment.
So Random quotes Scoobytopia saying, nobody knows who you are, who cares. Your personal information isn't public. You could have applied this advice to yourself with these haters, but you didn't. Don't give advice you can't take. I can represent myself if I want to, just like you.
And Random is right. It's so easy to say, who cares, when it's someone other than you. What if more people commented on your video with, nobody knows who you are in real life, who cares? Didn't stop you from making a video to express how you were feeling the same way this person made a comment to clear up what they said. However, you continue to make this whole thing just about you while admitting to doing these things on purpose. But then you go on to backtrack and say these.
Scoobytopia then leaves several comments. I'm not going to read each of them. He basically repeats himself. The gist of it all is that Scoobytopia both declares ignorance as well as lying about not including random in the video after already admitting to it. Even lies about not seeing timestamps. Funny how you complain about people gaslighting you about what they didn't see after you delete it, but you yourself tried gaslighting random about what was in your video after you removed it. You did all of this, deleted the evidence several times, and lied in multiple places, losing credibility.
So now all of a sudden random was never in the videos, and you go on to say this multiple times when we know from the screenshots they were. Plus, you already admitted to it earlier on in your replies. And there are a lot of screenshots with him following up these replies you made by saying,
Random then says, we both know you're lying because I copy and pasted my original comment within this comment and gave a timestamp. You can stop lying for no reason. Random was not having it.
I think this is the moment Random caught on to what you were doing and started getting screenshots and making posts to Reddit, because we already showed you went on to edit out their comment, then claimed it was never there, and you never saw a timestamp. But wait, what was that screenshot in your community post? That's right, the very first part of the comment with a timestamp. What was that thing you said in your video again?
It's also strange to see people try to gaslight me and say they never see hate comments, even the ones that are still very much up.
You really got to practice what you preach. But I feel like I talked about Scoobytopia so much so far. There are more people who enter, and as you imagine, they take Scoobytopia's side and continue on the dogpiling. I already showed the dogpiling comments he conveniently ignored, but what about someone who claimed to be impartial? Let's see.
A person named Jula enters and leaves a nice little comment saying, you say you've never attacked Nate in your comment, which is true. But then Nate replied to you saying you're right, in which, yes, he did bring up other people and mostly talked about what they said. But in that reply, he really hasn't said anything rude. Gonna have to interject. I know y'all love my commentary. Listen, D. Jula. Nate literally said, take yourself out to the trash. I already quit the channel like you wanted. The use of the words yourself and you directs the comment towards Random. Nate didn't say they and themselves. He was rude. D. Jula continues to say, but then you came in with a reply. Stop saying your sob story as if I'm one of those people. I've already read this earlier, you get it. Where you referred to people who saying he should end his own life as a sob story, that he only brings up to manipulate people. And also, he has said that he agrees with several things you've said originally, but for some reason you ignored it, because what he agrees with isn't the topic at hand. Anyways, he's also explained that he put your cut comment in the video just as a vague example of the comments he got. Wrong.
Mostly the same take I had in the beginning. So we now have a rational witness who corroborated that Random in fact did not harass Scoobytopia. However, I got to stop you there, because Scoobytopia was rude, saying phrases like, you didn't say that part, but immediately following up with, take yourself out to the trash, I've already quit the channel like you wanted, was rude. That part of the video deliberately talked specifically about that comment, and the replies he made contributed to the claims. Then you go on to say,
D. Jula then goes on to reply to Random in a series of copy and paste, basically saying she doesn't give a damn about how Random feels and only Scoobytopia is valid in his feelings, then claims she's being impartial. I'm not reading all of these out. You can pause and look if you want. I summarized.
Couple of things. Time does matter. Again, as I pointed out before during this commentary, Scoobytopia's first reply says, take yourself out to the trash. I've already quit the channel like you wanted. Saying he agrees with points later doesn't negate the fact that if Random never decided to reply back and left it at that, people would definitely view them as one of the people leaving hate comments. This is the problem. Throughout the replies, Scoobytopia kept reiterating he was never going to actually talk about the situation. But then he goes to try and prove a point in his favor by throwing out he now actually agrees with the comment. But later, we will see he still holds it as disrespectful, bringing up, well, how do you know this wasn't his first thought? It's also up in the air for interpretation, so I'm not going to comment on that much. But it's safe to assume that his first reply was his first thought. You can't prove thoughts, but you can prove actions, and since this is the comment he immediately chose to go with, this is also most likely his first thought. You're really not being impartial if you refuse to see the issue with his first reply that contributed to the argument and led to multiple people shitting on his commenter, clearing up what his comment was actually saying that was added to the video in the first place. Going back to the time thing, it still shows you aren't being impartial, because Random was proven right in saying Scoobytopia's reply was in fact on a manipulative side that gauges a certain response out of people who scroll, and especially when the comment is pinned. But of course, why should it matter? It's not like Scoobytopia made a video about stuff like this happening to him. Guess there's only creators that deserve to have their feelings, thoughts, and name cleared to the public. And you go on to show your lack of impartialness by saying, okay, and to a person not wanting to be cut out of context, and once again saying, who cares, it's a cartoon, when the person reveals that Scoobytopia commented before on the actual Velma video saying he actually disagrees with the comment. Random then replies with,
and I rightfully got annoyed because it was completely separate from my comment. He got hate comments, okay, he already said that in the video. Repeating it in a comment that is about him cutting me out of context is relatively shitty, because rather than acknowledging what he did, he brushed it off for something completely different. Imagine you're at a restaurant. They get your order wrong on purpose, and when you correct them, they say, I have trauma, and didn't fix it or acknowledge it. You wouldn't be annoyed by that? That's basically what he did. Would you say what he did wasn't rude because he was bullied by someone other than me, yet feels the need to say that instead of what the comment was about, literally a tactic to shut people up, nothing more? Random does go on quite a tangent after this. But Random does bring up in the original Velma video, they told Scoobytopia they wasn't trying to be rude, yet still got put in this video. The end of the comment says, this entire comment/reply was caused by his deliberate choices, so acknowledgement on how shady that is very warranted.
Random was once again making a good point. Being bullied doesn't excuse or absolve the person of their later actions, and admitting to doing it deliberately doesn't change or remove the previous comments where you made explicitly clear what you thought of this person beforehand. You painted Random in a certain light with your responses. Yes, once again, Random did come across as apathetic, but you contributed to it. Would you not say this reply was apathetic to a person you cut out of context? Rules for D, not for me. This saying heavily describes this person. I don't do drama, but when someone doesn't like that I intentionally cut them out of context and labeled them as rude, I will say the most dramatic thing ever and get surprised when they respond. But remember when I said Random revealed they and Scoobytopia had history already on the last video? Well, another screenshot shows one of their last replies to the self-proclaimed impartial commenter, which reads,
see, guess you're going to be biased and claim you're not just to take up for a YouTuber you claim not to be defending. As I said, if you can at them, then stop adding me, be impartial for real, or exit the conversation. There's more than just me here. And by the way, this was part of my second comment he left out of the video. You can like a show, but still point out its flaws, which you didn't really do besides Scrappy and a bit of the over-the-top dialogue in season 1, but framed everything else as haters think this, but it's not bad. Never said I didn't like him for not liking the show, nor was that ever my point. He should have just called his video a positive review instead of a neutral one because he was only being positive. But to him, this is an attack on his character.
And Random was right. This comment was actually constructive. The comment talks about the actual formation of the video, and if the bulk of the original video was haters think versus what I think, then it's not going to be disrespectful towards you because that's the way you made the video. And people can obviously say, well, the original video is no longer available, so do we know he's telling the truth about his comment? Well, dear viewers, the power of screenshots. I feel like a lawyer right now. Here we go. So Random said this in their reply to Scoobytopia.
Not to mention those replies you show, you can literally read the bottom of my name. You did a terrible job blurring. For someone who claims I wasn't even going to put you in the video, you show only part of my comment, but showed your full replies to my comments. And not the part where I replied to you saying I wasn't trying to be rude, but you want to try and say, if only you were respectful. What's your excuse now? See, here's the bullshit. Random wasn't disrespectful, and they're not responsible for how you personally take things. You, on the other hand, were very disrespectful in your first reply, which prompted them to bring the same energy back. But you won't talk about that part. Nobody is going to be nice to you while you be a little shit. Take yourself out to the trash. I've already quit the channel like you wanted, was your first reply. Hypocrite.
Now, let's actually take a look at the replies he gave in the original video.
And I'll be summarizing. Agree to heavily disagree, I guess. It's kind of disrespectful to imply I'm not being honest. Well, we already shown you are prone to lying to fit your needs. This video is my honest opinion. I watched the season with my friends who all felt the exact same way, and actually were more positive than I even was. I'm getting extremely irritated because people feel that can be disrespectful and hurtful towards me because of a difference in opinion. I never said Scrappy in the show was perfect. I do not need to repeat myself to make you happy. I will not just be told I'm faking my opinions because some person does not agree with me and be nice back anymore after the last couple of weeks of being beaten down every day like I'm not a person.
But again, Randall did not attack you, as backed up by self-proclaimed impartial. And the second reply Random sent goes to show that they did watch your video and commented directly on your video. And the second reply Random sent goes to show they did watch your video and commented directly on your commentary, not you as a person. But after that, you then go on to reply to them saying, I haven't been getting criticism since the upload. Underneath a comment that is 100% critical says, I'm not going to be nice if people aren't going to be nice to me. Again, under a actual critical comment that doesn't attack him, says he's not an influencer while having a channel with over 18k subscribers. Says, I never even said Scrappy in the show was perfect. But the copy and paste second reply from Random literally says, you can like the show, but still point out its flaws, which again you didn't really do besides Scrappy. They never said you said Scrappy was perfect. It goes to show you didn't read their reply before making yours. And as for the last part, they never said you were faking your opinion. They said they thought you were going to be neutral, but the review was overall just positive. Scoobytopia apparently went on to blur Randall's name further in the edit of the video, which is why the top part of the screenshot replies are blurred right after he took out the cut comment that was previously in the video. Scoobytopia then goes on to reply with,
he edited out and blurred Random's name more. Scoobytopia then replies to Random, but like DJ Eula, it's a bunch of copy and paste with answers, so I won't be reading it all. Summarized version. He tries to say Random should have checked out multiple of his videos before commenting and say by not doing so, Random's comments are dishonest and rude.
So now he admits to editing Random out of the video, but goes on to say both the video and his comments are representing Random accurately, when in reality, you're pushing the narrative you want people to see, especially when you then go on to act like it's now Random purposely lying because they didn't watch multiple of your videos and only the Velma Season 2 video. Your multiple videos don't have anything to do with the one at hand, because Random then goes on to say,
Random responds in the same manner, so again, gonna skim it. Main thing is Random says, did I say you're never negative? Stop taking everything so personally. As I said, I left a comment on that video about that video. I'm not gonna scroll and see what you made before commenting on the current video. I know I'm skimming a lot, but really it's a bunch of word salad.
Once again, Random is right. If a person isn't a subscriber and watches the video, that video will be their introduction to your channel. I watch a lot of YouTube videos in passing from people I don't subscribe to. Doesn't mean I have to research them if I feel they need to leave a comment on the video I'm currently watching. You also delete all your Velma related videos, so I can't particularly say if this is true or not. But if you only covered Season 1, and this was your first video of Season 2 that Randall commented on, the original, not talking about the response video, then it stands to reason someone wouldn't watch a Season 1 video and think it applies to any criticism you might have with Season 2. If you're going to make a video, treat everyone like a new one, every video like a new one, unless it's deliberately a part 1 and part 2 of the same season. Take Quentin Reviews, for example. He makes multiple hour-long videos but treats them as continuations, but also keeps his review fresh for new takes on the current episode and season. Not saying you need to be in-depth like Quentin, but you gotta treat Season 1 and 2 differently because it's a whole new season. Anyways, the response Scoobytopia gives is,
Why be so angry that you're writing Les Miserables towards the idea of me making videos and how I do them? Hi, interjecting once again. Why are you so angry about a commenter you put in your video giving context? I never said you had to watch the other videos anyways. I pointed out your dishonesty in saying you would have to had watched my other videos to know that. Wow. Yes, I didn't say you had to watch my other videos. I said you had to watch my other videos, otherwise you're dishonest. Makes sense. And now your comment that was right to be included is no longer included. Anything of you is scrubbed except your own admittance to being rude. The problem is solved, story over. Anything of you is scrubbed except your own admittance to being rude. The problem is solved, story over. Firstly, there was no rude admittance. Secondly, you started the argument. Third, you scrubbed everything so you could lie.
you're writing about the idea of me making a video and how I do them. You mean criticism? Okay, let's play a game. If Scoobytopia or anyone makes a response video to this one, then all they're doing is writing Les Miserables towards the idea of me making videos and how I do them. Let's see how well that holds up. Anyways, you just made a contradiction. You can't say someone is being dishonest in the critique of your video because they didn't watch the others, while also saying you never said they had to watch the others. It's not an assumption to say you were being positive in a video. It's a fact if that's how the video went. Nor is it being dishonest because, again, that is how they said the video went. It would be dishonest if they said you were always positive and never negative, but they already showed that wasn't the case in the second reply you never included in the video, pointing out two negatives you have with the show contradicting your statements. So, while you throw out multiple claims, you are in fact the dishonest one in the situation. You didn't go on to say,
Obviously, I'm going to keep my replies visible. I said what I said, and I stand by it. Just because I have to babysit you and remove your name nobody would ever find you by, and your rude comment you won't take responsibility for, ahem, take yourself out to the trash, I've already quit the channel. You deserve what got said to you for it, and I have a right to say it publicly. Cope. The amount of hypocrisy and it's fine when I do it mentality from you is very strong.
So, all of this over being told they didn't think you were being neutral and mostly positive. Real question, since one was being called a positive reviewer rude, like seriously, Scoobytopia really started an argument and shitted on this guy for being told his review was very positive. Random deserved to get hated on because he said you were positive about Velma. Really let that sink in. What was the one thing you said?
And of course, even defenses toward me are met with the usual, he deserves it if he feels that way because I don't like this show.
The irony. Anyways, let's continue.
I tried having a conversation. Lie. Poor little baby still couldn't handle them tonight and spit it out. You tried shutting things down from the beginning, Nate. If baby didn't want their comment redacted, they shouldn't have acted like they didn't want it there. First post is the full uncut comment. Poor baby calls a new comment even outside the video every 2 seconds, only a little hate because too little to have experienced the world yet.
You didn't try having a conversation. Also, this comment proves you were the one who started mocking Randall, and Randall retaliated. Everything I pointed out directly disproves this. You were in the wrong for how you handled your start of your replying streak. The only thing I can really say they did wrong was calling your bullying experience a sob story. But even then, how you conducted yourself as a person with a following still needs to be called out. You can delete the videos and spread your own narrative of how it went down, but someone has to stand up for the little guys who don't have a voice or a following to match. Roll the instant replay.
A lot of people started to just become disrespectful, insisting I was being positive, which I wasn't even really being all that positive, for the sake of being different and special and quirky and contrarian, that I was lying for views and should be an honest neutral instead of faking my opinion. One disappointing moment was seeing a Scooby-Doo podcast host I like and have enjoyed the work of participating in the harassment in a power trip, maybe out of jealousy toward the person, in a moment of total disillusionment for me. And those are the popular people everyone knows and follows that are supposed to set an example. but are showing we should be fighting instead of being a community, many of which also regularly rage bait Velma towards Scooby fans just to get them riled up. It's also strange to see people try to gaslight me and say they never see hate comments, even the ones that are still very much up.
That's the video, and all things considered, I feel this was pretty fair. For your actual video, I feel like you shouldn't have given up and relied more on the available YouTube features. For your war in the comments section, I really think you need to actually look at what criticism is and learn how to respond accordingly. Nothing was rude until your reply, and if you had never mentioned the person, they probably wouldn't have come back. Even in the Reddit post, it was mentioned it wasn't about being in the video, it's how they were in the video. If you do watch this video, and hopefully to the end and truly internalize it, I think an apology to the commenter is warranted. In your video, and as well as your comment on Triple R's video, you express disappointment in how toxic communities can be, while showcasing all the traits you are against, and by the screenshots doing so deliberately, but give a different story in other places. If you take nothing from this video, then it's just a lost cause.